We're going to the Pole Hill Reserve in Highbury Road in Tearo. It should take us about 1.8 kilometers to get there. And then on top of that, I'm going to be trying to run the trail. So best of luck to me, I guess. All right, let's get this bread. I do not want to get this bread. It's going to take me 28 minutes to run to this hill. I've climbed a significant portion of one of these hills. All I can think about is the bread. Run up the hills, they said. It'll be fun, they said. And they were right. But running up the hills, bread. Did they get the bread? I ended up not making it to the destination. You know what? I can't complain. I'm in the woods right now, so I guess mission failed, but successful, you know? So I think I'm just gonna enjoy the rest of this run, and maybe next time I'll try and actually get to the starting point of the trail. And as always, bread. Welcome week started. We were gonna have a grill out where like they'd make us like burgers and brats and all that kind of stuff, but the propane tanks exploded.
I went into a bonsai freshman year because I was going into...
Funnily enough, someone else set off a fire alarm, and we had to leave the building again sometime after that, like a couple of days later. Days later, somebody set off the fire alarm by like making toast or cooking or something like that, and it like starts locally in your room, and then the fire alarm escalates to the whole building if you don't shut it off in time. And we had to leave the building yet again, and unfortunately the poor guy probably got fined and slapped on the wrist for doing that, but that was fun. But a couple days later, then we went on a scavenger hunt to go see the rest of the city. There's some cool footage of that I can show you right here. Alright, that's a good challenge. Bon appetit, let's go guys. What is this?
Sand.
Is it good?
No.
Does it have that in our house?
A couple days later after that, we went looking around the city and went to the botanical gardens. We got to ride a trolley up to the very top of the hill, which is really cool. And there was we were supposed to look at the entire botanical gardens, but we got stopped on the very first stop because there was a very beautiful view of the city that we just had to stop and like watch for like 45 minutes. By the way, you see this tan? It doesn't quite come through, but I got a little bit of sunburn from sitting out in the sun directly for about 45 minutes. Pro tip, you need sunscreen in Wellington. had a bit of a pep rally where we chanted. Did not get any video of that, but we did find some cool stuff to do there. There was a lot of really good food. There was like a Thai restaurant that I went to, and after that we played some human-sized foosball. That's pretty cool.
Very good memory.
One cool thing that I appreciate about New Zealand is that they don't listen to modern American music. The music you hear is all like American or like very familiar to me, which is weird. But it's all like early 2000s/90s stuff. So I went to a bar and I was very pleasantly surprised to hear Darude Sandstorm playing. I'm gonna try and take this video of me walking when I have my mind operating at almost full capacity, but not quite my mind. I'm sorry. That's what post editing is for, right? The magic of post editing. I can say whatever I want, and I can say it as many times as I want while I'm here behind the camera, so I can give you a clearer understanding of what I was trying to say when I was exhausted running up a hill for a little bit. That was kind of fun. Funny story. It sounds like home, you know? It's great. I want to do this travel blog, but I've been working on one of my travel blogs, and I looked back over how I presented everything as just this one great big exciting adventure, and I realized I do what a lot of people do, and they romanticize a lot of like the experiences that they have in their life. People often show you the highlights and not truly what's going on the entire time, which creates this false feedback loop, and how it often doesn't reflect the truth. And I realized I didn't want my vlog series to be that. I wanted it to be a bit more truthful to the true experiences that I'm having. The first week I've been here, I didn't experience what most people would have expected, which is that you just completely get blown away by being in a foreign country. Everything's amazing. You feel fantastic all the time. But what I found myself feeling was, at least in this first week, kind of lost, out of my comfort zone. People often talk about being out of your comfort zone as this positive thing where nothing but good things can happen, that being uncomfortable pushes you to new boundaries and living a better life. What they don't tell you is that going out of your comfort zone sucks, and it gets very uncomfortable a lot of the time. Hasn't quite happened. School hasn't started yet. I haven't made a lot of close friends, and I've been spending an enormous amount of time on my phone, unfortunately. Despite being, and I keep kicking myself thinking, what are you doing? Are you squandering your time? I've got 4 months to be here, and I've found that I'm already kind of counting down the time. I'm uncomfortable, and I want to go home. At the same time, I want to make the most out of this experience, and I'm not sure how to find a good balance of it. So I decided that probably one of the best ways to get around this, or to help myself through it, is to make sure that my vlogs are representative of my true feelings as I'm going through this time in New Zealand. I don't want to find myself wishing away the time here. I'm looking forward to being home and being back in a comfort zone, but I can't enjoy my time here unless I accept the fact that there are things that are going to be uncomfortable. So, non-tired Seth here to decrypt whatever it was I was saying before. Oh, I'm gonna get this is a Whiteberg lens flare out of there. What I was trying to say was, what a lot of people do, and what people seem to experience, at least I have myself, so hopefully this makes a little bit more sense to anybody else watching. What people tend to do is, whenever they have a good experience or a mediocre experience, they tend to overindulge in the positive aspects of it, both selectively in your memory, but also, and especially, on things like Facebook feeds, Instagram posts or whatever else. You'll hear about how great and fantastic the entire thing is, and they'll show that to everybody else. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but like, you go on a family vacation and you just have this point where you're tired, you're walking up a hill, or you did a hike, everyone's tired, everybody's snappy and crabby at each other, and then the family will pose for this nice picture, everyone seems to be in harmony, yay, it looks like everybody just had a great time. Not everybody wants to see the struggles that you go through in real life because they're not as exciting, they're boring, and relatively uninteresting. I mean, everybody has problems. That's not what we want to post online. But the bad point about that is it creates, like I'll describe later, this negative feedback loop. So, you hear about people going abroad. You never hear about homesickness or struggling to make friends or being disappointed by what you see. And it creates this unrealistic expectation. Somebody comes back from doing a thing abroad and they talk about how great it was. Everybody wants to know how fantastic the entire thing was, and no one really wants you to come back and hear, it was okay. It was different. There were some interesting things I did, but there were a lot of negatives to it as well. People only emphasize the great things about it. They want you to hold on to this idea that I had a great time, I'm a different person, and what you're seeing on the internet of people posting is the highlight reel of an entire week, couple days, maybe even a couple of months of experience, and you see this just one big condensed positive experience, and you miss all of these areas in between where it's rather boring. For example, I've been kind of lazy the last couple days. I was meant to post this video yesterday, but I had taken a week, which turned into 2 weeks off because I've been busy binging some stuff on Netflix. Turns out The Last Airbender is on Netflix here in New Zealand, and I am taking full advantage of that as much as I can. Unfortunately, it's not really anything to write home about, so I haven't really made any Instagram posts about, oh wow, binging The Last Airbender or whatever else. In New Zealand, watching TV, people really want to see all these other great things, climbing mountains, doing hikes, and all this productive stuff I've been doing. So I've been really down on myself lately for not achieving the goals I want, not keeping up with homework as well as I would like to, and just not going out and about as much as I think I should be. Now, here's the key difference. Think. It's this thing that I feel I need to do. Because I've seen everybody else do a lot of these cool study abroad trips, I have this expectation put on myself, by myself, because of what I've seen from other people, and it's hard to separate somebody's idealized experience from the reality of what it should be. I had this great idea of what everything was going to be like. I was going to be super productive, see a ton of cool stuff, visit Lord of the Rings sets, and just breeze through a school year. My classes, in reality, my classes are challenging. The landscape is beautiful, but it's not what I expected. The culture that I've experienced here is different, slightly, but it's very similar to American culture. So I didn't have this great, oh wow, they do things very differently kind of experience here. It's much more laid back, which hasn't quite been positive for me getting all this stuff done. I have been here for maybe 3 weeks. I've barely touched any of my personal projects the way that I wanted to. So I don't want to overindulge in the positive aspects of what it is I've been doing here. There are some downsides, and don't get me wrong, they're not all negative. I'm having a good time, but you also have bad days, you have maybe even bad weeks, and my first week here was kind of a bad week, which was not good for me because I was expecting to immediately get engrossed and in the culture, meet some friends, and have a grand old time. And here I am my first week thinking, wow, I really miss home. This is different. I am not surrounded by the people I normally know. The food here is way more expensive, and I'm worrying about my bank account balances, and I'm just not doing what it is I expected to do. So, one of the ways that I was getting around this and fighting this temptation to hold myself to an unrealistic expectation is to maybe vlog about the struggles and the bad times just as much, and the struggles that you have to go through in order to help myself come to the realization that not everything's going to go the way I want it to. Hopefully, I can help other people overcome this as well. So if you do a study abroad, you do this really cool vacation thing, and it's just not what you were expecting. That's okay. It's okay. Things can't always be grand all the time. Hopefully that was clear. So, what I was not able to express after that was going outside of your comfort zone. Now, I've done quite a bit of this. When I was in high school, I spent my first 2 years at Northland, the last 2 at MVL. So I had one big change and growth period from there, and then another one from MVL, and then I went to MSOE for the last 3 years. And now I'm hitting a really big one, which was just a total, complete, I shouldn't say total. I have some friends here from home. I haven't been seeing them as much as I have. And going outside of your comfort zone does teach you stuff. Now, there's a reason they call it going outside of your comfort zone. I don't think it has enough of a negative thing to it. It is a good thing. It makes you grow as a person. You realize things, but it does suck. It hurts. You go through stuff. It's not this rocky montage that only lasts for like a day or 2 or something like that, and you feel fantastic afterwards. The point is that you feel a lot of doubt, and you ask yourself a lot of really important questions. One of the huge takeaways I took from being in New Zealand was I learned to appreciate the friends that I had been making in the past up till this point. I've gotten back in contact with some friends from back home. I'm talking to Isaiah a lot, or at least we're trying to plan to do some stuff while I'm here in New Zealand, and I'm excited. Reaching back out to home and being away from everybody I love, excluding the friends that I have here, has made me realize that I have been neglecting some of the people in my life that aren't right immediately in front of me, and this growth period has allowed me to do that, and I think I'm better off for it so far. And who knows what other things I'm going to experience while I'm outside of my comfort zone. So I'm excited to see what the future holds. I'm not sure how to spell this, but Mount Kaukau, I think is the way it's pronounced. Probably gonna get a lot of flack for that if it's wrong, but Stuart and I decided, since I have most of my Wednesday open, well, actually I have all of my Wednesday open since I don't have class on Wednesday, which, by the way, is amazing. It's the first time in my life that I've had a complete day off of my schedule, and actually Monday I only have one class at 9 a.m., so it gets me up early to do stuff. Today's Monday. Instead of doing schoolwork, so I'm trying to catch up, play a little bit catch up, and watching the rest of I'm gonna get this video out. So, got distracted. So Wednesday we had the entire day. We took the early part of a morning/afternoon and climbed a mountain, which was really cool. So when we finally climbed the mountain, it got cloudy. And at first I was really disappointed because you couldn't see this great view. This was probably one of the tallest mountains in Wellington. And it was weird at first because when we were climbing it, like getting 2/3 of the way to the top, there were still like suburbs and a lot of houses and stuff. So it didn't quite feel like climbing a mountain. You weren't quite in the wilderness until about maybe like the last 20 minutes. But when we reached the top of the mountain, fog had rolled in, or You know when you see like pictures of mountains and like you see there's clouds at the top that covering the peak? You ever wondered what it looks like when you're at the top? It's it's really cool actually. The wind was blowing and you couldn't see more than like 20 feet in front of you. We weren't in any danger, like falling off of an edge or anything like that. It was very like, it wasn't a very steep mountain. But getting to the top was actually surreal. We got up there and there's a cell phone tower. The most surreal thing I've ever experienced. We're approaching it. The wind is blowing in our ears and it's whistling through all of the metal in this tower. And as we're approaching it, it's slowly coming out of the mist. And you're hearing this whistling and the wind is blowing all around you. It was a real eerie feeling, but it was exhilarating at the same time. I really felt like I was approaching like like Sauron's tower or like the Dark Tower or something mysterious. I don't know, I'll just have to show you some of the video. A couple days after that, we took another hike up the hill that actually I had shown you before. It was my very first run, the bread run. We gotta go get the bread. Except instead of going straight to the trail, we saw some graffiti on some strange cinder blocks. And when we got all the way up to the top of the mountain where we saw them, they actually turned out to be like old military bunkers. And people like, would spray graffiti on them.
Hell yeah. I'll put it somewhere. Can't be that illegal. How the heck?
So that was about 2 weeks worth of stuff that I had done since releasing my last vlog. When I released my first vlog, the first week had finished, so I was currently doing a lot of the stuff you had seen already after I had released the original video, and then I took another week and gathered some more material. One thing I forgot to mention the last time I did my last vlog was when I was sitting in airports. The only thing that made it bearable were my two friends made this really cool podcast called the Shark Pact. I'll probably link that in the description down below. They're just two siblings that are messing around and having a really good time on their podcast. It's actually really good. It made the flights bearable, and I want to give them a shout out. You guys should go watch that or listen to that so that they make more, please. Please make more, guys. On top of that, I also want to give a shout out to Isaac Balone. You might have seen the Melvin the Duck t-shirts that I was wearing in some of the other shots that I had done either this week or the last. Go play Melvin the Duck, tell Isaac to get off his butt and make the game better or make more games. So go to onlinecoop.games and give them some support. These are my friends and they are doing some really cool stuff, so go check them out. Yeah, that should do it for me. So I'll hopefully be able to post some more stuff soon, next week. So thanks guys.